let's review this game. And I would like to flip board. Let's play as black's perspective. So the game starts with e4, king's pawn opening, and white play bishop c4. So we have Italian opening. Knight f6, and knight g5. This is a common move where I see a lot of games of like chess beginners. So white wants to attack on f7, and the best move is d5. And after white taking the pawn, it's not a good choice to take the d5 pawn, but play knight a5 instead. Because if you play knight d5, white gonna sacrifice the knight, and white has a lot great opportunity and potential to attack the black king. So in this game, so black play d5, that's a correct move. And after taking the pawn, knight a5, yeah, that's also a correct move. So pawn to d3, white wants to defend the pawn. And in this case, since the d5 pawn is blocking the light square bishop, we can first push pawn to f6 to push the knight back to f3, and then we can take the d5 pawn. So in this game, we take the bishop. That's also something we can consider. But we lost one pawn at the at center, and we need to find something as compensation. For example, maybe we can divide pieces very quickly, or fight back at the center as a counterattack. So in this game, we play e4. Well, in my opinion, this move is a bit too early to push the pawn because the knight f3 can go to d4, which actually makes the knight into a better position at the center. So if I play as black, I will move bishop to g4 to pin the knight. And maybe I will long castle and then start to fight against the center. So knight d4 and bishop c5, this is very good. Divide the bishop and also targeting at the center knight. Bishop e3 and we castle, so both sides castle, and c6. We started to fight against center, but this move has some problem because if white take the c6 pawn, white can win the pawn. So this is a discover attack. So we need to think about another way to fight against center. So knight g4 turned out to be a move we can try, exchanging the dark square bishop, and also we could potentially push the f pawn to attack the king side. So black has paired bishop, which are all aiming at the king side. So if you ask me to find a direction to further attack white's defense, I will start at the king side. So that's why I will move knight to g4, exchanging the bishop and pushing the pawn f5 and 4. So c6, very fortunately, white didn't find the best move. Bishop knight to f to c6. So white played knight to b3 instead. And in this case, I will trade the bishop. So white will have an isolated point e3. So I think b6 is a bit passive, and if white play c5, move bishop to c7 and d6. So white will have very solid pawn structure, which suppress our space at king side and queen side, and this is not good for black. So white didn't play c4, c5. Okay, here we have it, and bishop a5, that's the only move, and then we'll lose the pair bishop. So in this position, I think white is way better. So b6, we're trying to fight against the center. White play queen d4. This queen is really strong, and we don't have any piece to kick it away from the center. So in this case, white is way better than black. Look, b8, want to control the open file, that's good. g4. Well, this move, I don't think that's a good move because it makes the white king exposed. So if I will play white, I will attack on the queen side, maybe pushing the rook to b1 to control the b file. Okay, that's a sacrifice. Or maybe not, because if I take, white will win the knight. Okay, that looks interesting. Queen e6, that's a good move, defending the knight and the bishop back. And we play bishop to h7. So probably we can move the knight to d7 to defend the pawn moving to d7 because this is a discovery attack. Yeah. Okay. Rook a8, we want to defend a7. So white is way better than us. Rook e6. So now white has up one knight and up one pawn. So it's very hard for black to get a draw. Okay, so yeah, e6, a very dangerous passed pawn. So, well, I mean, white still is way better than black. So the next question is, which pawn should white attack? So see, so we have dark square bishop, so the g7 pawn, the only black pawn at the dark square for now, should be the easiest target. So maybe you can move the rook to h7 and h1 to h7, and this pawn is really hard for black defend. If the king moves to f8, the bishop can pin the rook. So yeah, so I would not move the king, but move the rook to h7 instead. Okay, white is planning for checkmate at background. It's also a very interesting plan. Okay, so white won. So I think white, the critical position is at this opening. So after d3, I feel like we can push the pawn. And where should white place the knight? So if knight to e4, that's a disaster, because if I take the knight, the bishop become hanging. So knight f3 looks as the reasonable move for me. And actually, you know what, instead of taking the pawn, we can play e4. Because if the pawn takes our pawn, we can take the bishop. And if the knight goes to d4, for example, then we can keep developing pieces and get some tempo, attack the center knight, and bishop to e3. We can play knight g4 to exchange with the dark square bishop, or we can simply take the pawn back. If you take I can take the bishop and then win this bishop. So if you take my bishop, I will take that, and if you take, I will take that with my queen. And black has a very good center queen, so I think black is slightly better. Okay, then that's a review of this game.